Hey, it's me, Pinky. We had an update this week, and we had a few new things, like new routes for transnational relocations in some cases. But the thing I want to talk about is Kevin's Mainhand dropped. I don't know if you already saw it or not, but the people that saw it, I think, have a bit of confusion with his Mainhand and the skill. So I would say we look quickly onto his skill. I will show it to you, we'll show you the Mainhand and explain you the differences, so hopefully everybody understands. So this is Kevin's Ghostly Barrier. If you want to understand what it does, is you get a shield that will stack up to 50%, and when it's at 50% it's its maximum, and then it takes 50% of damage away from normal hits or weakness hits. And the great thing about it is it will always shield the most damaged lineup. Since Jamie will always attack the most damaged lineup, Kevin works very, very well versus Jamie, because Jamie always attacks the weakest lineup. Kevin always protects it. You get 50% less damage from Jamie's weakness attacks, more or less. The weakness attacks also stack up, but every hit makes like half of it than what it does without Kevin. I will try to show it to you now. So I did fight versus Crane, just for testing reasons, because it works good in the mines. And like this, you can try out stuff, because you can make very controlled fights, always the same stats, and then just check the end of battle record to see the overall kills. As you see, Crane has no Kevin in this fight. Instead of Kevin, he took Growl, which means I made around 120k of weakness attacks versus him, and this is just without any reduction, because, well, no Kevin involved. The damage Crane did to me doesn't really matter, because I have no Kevin, and this is not really what I wanted to show. Let's take like 20 seconds. So as you can see, in second 20, I'm doing around 2k versus Crane. So it's 1056, 1956, then it's 1989. So around 2k every time. So another fight we made, Crane has Kevin instead of Growl. If you look onto this here, you will see the weakness attacks are a lot lower, 66k instead of 120k. So it's around half, but you always have to keep in mind the true normal attack here is higher than in the other report. Why? I have theories, but no real answer to it. So I will just leave that here, but you see the weakness attacks are kinda halved than in the other report. And then you see here in the report with Kevin, you also can, this attack triggered Kevin's Warsaw Awakening skill, blah blah blah. You see I'm only killing 750, which is even less than 50%. Please don't ask me why it's so low. Sometimes it happens that Kevin shields even more, but normally you just round the damage to half with Kevin. So this was like, let's say, a quick rundown on how Kevin works, just so we are all on the same page when I start talking about his Mainhand. Okay, here we have Kevin's Mainhand, and basically if you look into it, it still has 15% of activation, it will stack 10%, and it still has 50% maximum gain. So what's the use of Kevin's Mainhand 0 stars? Just stats? No. The thing is, what you have, if you read closely, double chances for melee troop types, reducing 10% skill damage for 2 seconds. So when you don't have Kevin's Mainhand, it's not talking about skill or non-skill damage. But if you have the Mainhand, it has skill damage inside. I asked Chinese players to be really sure about this. In Chinese, it's just talking about damage without the weapon, and with the weapon, it's talking about skill damage. And what this means is you will always also be able to have commander attacks, for sure, maybe even bleed, and I think also effects like Cersei and Annie on your most wounded lineup will do less damage than it should do. The 0-star weapon will protect you from commander attacks a bit, from all this stuff that is not a normal attack, maybe even bleed. I'm not sure about this. Sounds already quite strong and already like a good change. Just to show you again, here it has 10% non-skill damage for 2 seconds. In Chinese, it's not talking about skill or non-skill damage, it's just saying damage. So in order to understand this, it's not the main hand will change it from normal attacks and weakness attacks to commander attacks. The main hand will add you an extra value. But if you look onto a 4-star main hand from Kevin, there comes the part where I would say rip Jamie, and because he will reduce, actually he will stack faster because it will give you 20% instead of 10%. So, and you have a new maximum of reduction, which is 80%, which means you need 4 stacks instead of 5. And think about 80%. It will reduce Jamie's damage onto your most wounded lineup to like nothing. Well, 1/5 of his original value, which is like nothing. So I think if you get this 4 stars, it will help you a bit also against Layla and, well, hopefully also Bleed. But I think with the first, like, let's say, middle spenders having these 4 stars, which could take a while, I think we will start to see less and less Jamie quite soon. Because already I think 1 star will have more damage reduction, and every percentage is like crucial when you reduce under half of it. So I hope this will help people to understand the difference between non-skill damage, which is not noticed in the, let's say, original Chinese text, because the game is a Chinese game. If you want to really understand a text about something, you have to ask a Chinese player to translate you the Chinese text. And skill damage, which will just buff up Kevin's effect. And anyways, if you still have questions, feel free to ask, and I hope you enjoyed the video.